Hello, everyone. I'm Jen here in Singapore, and thank you for tuning in to Dear Future Grandkids. Now, this is the show that asks the question, what would you say to your future grandkids? What life lessons, legacy, stories, and memorabilia do you want to share with the next generation? Because, life moves pretty fast, and if you don't stop to look around once in a while, you could miss it. So thank you all for joining us here in Dear Future Grandkids. It's the Lunar New Year. So those who are celebrating, 恭喜发财. Hope you guys have a prosperous year of the snake. It's been fantastic. And I'm going to tell you what, you're going to love our guest for today. She's born in Singapore, and she was only 4 years old when the country became independent from British rule. She grew up in an anglicized environment with English as her mother tongue. Because she was brought up solely in English, following the footsteps of her paternal relatives who were educated in English language schools in preparation for the civil service. And later in life, after immigrating to England, she became a children's author and an advocate for diversity and representation in children's books and media in the UK. And she writes stories that are inspired by her Southeast Asian childhood because when she was growing up, she never saw herself or her culture and heritage in the English books that she read. She focuses on picture books because she believes that feeling seen and heard begins at infanthood. So here's a big welcome to Dear Future Grandkids, Eva Wong Nava. Eva, how's it going?
Hi, I'm good. I'm really well, thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So good to see you.
Yeah.
Kung Si Fa Chai. Happy Year of the Snake. And everyone knows that I'm based in Singapore, and you are very kindly as well tuning in live for us. And thank you all the way from the UK, sunny old England. So how is it there? And what is Chinese New Year like there?
It's a bit quiet here actually, but to be honest, through the years, I've noticed that the celebrations and the festival is kind of catching. It's getting quite a lot of traction on social media, and so people are quite excited about this festival. We're still at the crossroads of we don't know to call it Lunar New Year or Chinese New Year.
What's politically correct, right?
Yeah. I mean, I call it Chinese New Year because I'm Chinese. I mean, my friend who is Vietnamese, she calls it Tet. Maybe I'm mispronouncing it, it's Tet. Yeah. And then a Korean friend says Seo Lal. They're just different. I mean, they all fall on the same day because they follow the lunar solar calendar. And so I kind of don't mind whichever, but I get a bit cross when people say, oh, it's not Chinese New Year, it's Lunar New Year.
I know. I mean, because it means to different people, right? Growing up, I think wasn't just trying to remove everyone else from it. It's just that it was just called Chinese New Year. I mean,
yes.
Yeah, just that, yeah.
From in our part of the world, Singapore, Malaysia, Brunei, and Southeast Asia, it's Chinese New Year because our ancestors are from China.
Correct.
So
So fantastic. Now, normally, after we start the show off with your introduction, and then of course with the quick fire questions. But just before that, I just want to know, you've been living in the UK for so long, and your family there as well. Do you have any traditions that you follow on the first day? So, like for me, it's like my mom's always saying that you got to wear like new clothes, like everything new. To your underwear, like everything's got to be new. So do you have any traditions?
That is true. I mean, I think when my children were younger, they're much older now, I did keep to these traditions. I would give them the hong bao. I would make sure that we had these the symbolic food. We'll have noodles, we'll have a chicken, we'll always have fish, and I tried to introduce them to this festival this way. Because it's not I mean, unlike in Southeast Asia and China and Taiwan and Hong Kong, where there is a holiday, we don't have a holiday here because it's an ordinary day.
Yeah. Well done. So are you ready to start the show with some quick fire questions? So remember, it's going to come thick and fast at you. Don't overthink it. First thing that comes to mind, give us your answer, okay?
Okay, I try.
All right, fantastic. Here we go.
Okay.
Now, what's the first book that you read? Tough one, but do you remember like the first book you read?
Yes, I do. Heidi.
And the author.
Heidi. Oh goodness, I don't remember I don't remember the author's name, but Heidi is a story of a little girl who lives in the mountains, right? And she has a goat, and she has a friend called Peter, and she has a grandfather. And I read that when I was very young, and I've always wanted to go to the mountains. I mean, it was a very different environment in which I read the book, right? I read it in Singapore, hot, humid,
Yeah, exactly.
no goats. Not that I remember
Definite,
seeing any goats. Yeah,
definitely no goats in Singapore.
yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah. So yes,
Great.
Heidi would be the answer. Yeah.
So that's the first book you ever read. What's your favorite book? I mean, this is a tough one. Don't think
Mm,
too hard. Your
mm.
favorite book.
My favorite book still remains the Narnia series by C.S. Lewis. Yeah,
So the whole
I would
series,
read
that's
it
your
again.
absolute favorite.
Yeah, it's my absolute favorite. Yeah.
And why is it your favorite?
I know there's just great storytelling there. It's a fantastical world. I read it, not knowing that there were a lot of Christian symbolisms in the book. Because C.S. Lewis, obviously, as we all know now, he's a very staunch Christian. I didn't think about it that way. I just thought that there were so many good things to learn from the book. Yeah, and the storytelling, of course.
It's just what resonates with you, isn't it? The beauty of a
Mm-hmm.
book is a different it means different things to different people. Fantastic. Now, what's your greatest indulgence?
Oh, my greatest indulgence,
I'll say,
massages.
yeah, and especially in the UK, which is not cheap, is expensive
Yeah,
there.
exactly,
Definitely.
exactly. That's my indulgence. Yeah.
Nice. Have you
Ah.
got any rituals?
As in, what do I do when I get up in the day, or rituals to what?
Yeah, any sort of ritual. So,
Oh,
sports person, like professionals, they might have a ritual where they always put on the left sock and left shoe before the ride, or just
okay.
any sort of rituals that you sort of have, personal ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, whenever I start work, I always open my notebook first and take my pen. So I'll do this and then open my notebook, but then I don't write anything in it because I type. So that's my ritual. Because it's a bit of an odd one, because I don't, at the same time, I don't want to forget that we
Yeah.
have a writing system, but because we type now more than, or at least I type now. I type faster than I write.
Yeah.
So I no longer write my stories like I used to.
So you still
Sadly.
have the notebook and the pen.
Yeah,
Then
so I still have the notebook. I can show you. So this is what I do. I open it to a blank page. And
It's
then
still
I
blank.
will, it's still blank.
Do you not like mark off or write down the tasks that you have to do for the day? No.
Sometimes I do.
everything's not-
Sometimes I would like,
Okay.
sometimes I would try to spell words, like
Okay.
I would.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I
I
know.
mean,
It's a bit
technology
odd.
is taking over. It's just that everyone
Yeah.
will forget. The new generation will even know how to write. I hope that never
Tell
happens.
me. So I don't want to forget.
Now, moving on with the quick fire questions. Now, what is a song that you sort of listen to when you're feeling stuck, or you're just down and you need a bit of a pick me up? Like, what song do you listen to?
Oh my goodness. I think it's got to be Leonard Cohen's Alleluia. I don't know why.
Wow. Okay.
It doesn't even, I mean, it's quite a down song. I mean, it's quite a, like it's a minor tune, as in it's a minor chord, but I kind of love it.
Yeah. It sort of fills the heart, sort of like
Yeah,
lifts you in a
yeah.
way, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good one. Now, where do you write? So obviously, where do you type? I guess now is like, well, where is there a specific spot in the house, or do you go out to a coffee shop, or you find somewhere quiet?
Oh no, I couldn't do it in a coffee shop. I'll be too distracted. I'm always at home. I don't have a desk in particular. I mean, I am where I'm seated now is actually my study, but I share this study with my husband, but he kind of occupies it more than I do. He's kindly let me use it. And I write actually with my laptop on my lap. I'm seated
Oh,
on a
wow.
cushion. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
seated on a cushion. I mean, one of those bean bags, I guess.
Yeah.
And I have a laptop cushion, and then the laptop sits on the cushion, and the cushion sits on my lap, and I type like that. And I make sure I'm very comfortable. I've got pillows around me and all the things, my snacks. I can just reach out and do that, or like
you're going to be
my
sat
water.
here for a while. Yeah.
Exactly. I am usually sat there for a while. Quite a long while. So that is my kind of secret place.
Nice.
Obviously, when people ask me like, where do I write? Or whenever the kids ask me, because I want to help them foster good writing habits. I say, you must write at the desk, which is rubbish, which is a lie.
So as soon as they're back or they're home, you're like, oh no, not doing anything.
I feel terrible, but I feel terrible doing that. But I don't want the kids to think that it's okay. I mean, it's okay for me, right?
Yeah.
but it's not the best place to write or the best way to write for your posture and for everything else.
Yeah, but do as I say, not as I do.
Totally.
Now, and the final question for the quick fire section of the show, we asked you what was your favorite book. Who is your favorite writer?
Who's my favorite writer? Diane Wynne Jones.
Okay. For someone who's illiterate like me, can you give us a bit of background, what she's known for, and the famous
Diane
books?
Wynne Jones is known for, she writes fantasy. She's known for her stories have been made by the Ghibli studio into animation. I cannot think of a title at the top of my head right now. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I read her when I was a child, even though I say C.S. Lewis's Narnia series is my favorite. I do love Diane Wynne Jones.
Fantastic. Okay, you like this whimsical fantasy sort of genre? Is that what?
Hers is whimsical in some of her stories. Yeah, Howl's Moving Castle. That's
House Moving Castles. Okay, to everyone watching, House Moving Castles. Fantastic.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I've not read that one, but I've read her other one. Yeah, I watched Howl's Moving Castle with my children. I have.
All right, Eva, thank you so much for the quick fire questions. But now we just want to find out more about you. And if you could just spend a couple of seconds to pick up like 2 items or more objects that are treasures to you, something that's really meaningful and something that perhaps you'd like to share with your future grandkids as well. And I know you like to have everything just around you when you're nesting, when you're writing. So I'm sure it's all within arm's reach. What would you like to share?
Okay, I have a little. Sorry, I think I've got three things. Let's just say.
Yeah.
So this one I want to show you is a little box, kind of like it looks like a lipstick case, I guess, for us women. But actually, it isn't. What's in the box is a stamp made of stone, and at the top is actually an animal.
Yeah.
It's a monkey, actually. So I got the stone and from Chinatown in Singapore many years ago, and the stone carver, the stone mason, or the artist really, he carved a monkey there because he asked me what year was I born in. I said I was born in the year monkey, and then he carved it for me, and then he carved my name at the back, at the bottom of the stone, and I really love it because it speaks to my Chinese heritage. I'm Chinese Peranakan, so a little bit different again, but it speaks to my Chinese heritage. We don't speak Mandarin at home, as most Peranakan families don't. But we are, as listeners from Singapore, Malaysia, and Brunei probably understand that, we've kept a lot of our Chinese culture and heritage in Singapore and Malaysia. So I really love this. And what I do now is I take this to school, and when I sign my books, the kids love it because they've never seen anything quite like this. They've never seen anything like that before. And then I take up my little ink pad and I put a little stamp in their books for them.
Amazing. That's wonderful.
That's one treasure.
You could take it up a notch next time and actually get real wax and stamp it.
Yeah, that'd be quite good. Yeah.
Lovely.
So another treasure would be here. This one is my treasure, actually. It's actually my very new book. It's just come out this year. It came out last year in the States and this year in England. Dancing Dumplings for My One and Only. It's the book that was inspired by my daughter. And she gave me this title like many years ago. I didn't write the story until very much later. And so it's the story of a little girl and her grandma. It's gaining a lot of traction on social media at the moment because it's an intergenerational story. Nice. And the illustrator is Natal Quack. Natal is from Malaysia. but she is like me, a third culture adult. She's lived in New Zealand, America, and then she's now here. Yeah. So this is
Nice.
published by Walker Books.
So
And
it all started with just a title given to you by your daughter was just a dancing dumplings. How do you know how it came about, and how old was she when she gave you the title?
she was very little. I think she was about 6 or 7, and I was cooking dumplings, and she said, "Look at the dumplings. It's dancing in the water, right?" And I thought it was quite a cute way of describing the bubbles, right? Of when the dumplings are being
Yeah.
cooked. And
Yeah.
then she said to me, "Mommy, you must write this story." So I did. There was no story, obviously. It was just dancing dumplings. There was this image in my head, and I've kept that image. And I'm going to show you this spread here.
Yeah.
Dancing
Ah,
dumplings. Yeah.
nice.
So it's a very it in publishing, I suppose when they review this book, they would say that it presents an East and Southeast Asian family. Because there are kind of no white folks in here. It's an Asian family or
Yeah.
East Asian family going about their day and making dumplings and eating, and it features the relationship between the grandchild and her grandmother, and they're bonding with this heritage food, right? So that's
Fantastic.
my treasure. Yeah,
That's
that's my treasure.
lovely.
And there's a little secret behind the cover. I don't know
Uh-huh.
if you want me to show you that secret.
Well, I'll be happy if you can share.
Yeah, because the artist is so clever. I mean, Natal is so clever. And look at this. I'm just going to open the jacket, right?
Yeah.
Is that
Oh,
fabulous?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes. Okay. There's a
and
cover
very
of a cover in there, yeah.
there's a cover of a cover. So
Yeah.
not a lot of books are made this way. I mean, there are books obviously made this way. What I was removing was the jacket, right? It's like removing the jacket. But usually when the jacket's removed, it tends to look like the cover, right?
Correct.
But
Yes.
there's a little special thing about this book. So it's made to be a keepsake, actually.
Nice.
Yeah. So as you
Fantastic.
can see behind me are all my keepsake picture books. I've been collecting
Nice.
them for over 25 years.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I keep some of the books that I've read over the years, and it's just I know it's it's just it's a thing, but sometimes it means quite a bit just having it in the shelf and once in a while looking at it. Fantastic. So there was 2 things, and you said there were 3 things that you wanted to share.
Yes, yes, it'll be the last one, I promise.
Yeah, yeah.
This
No
is
worries.
another
No worries.
this is another treasure. It's
I
it's
love
actually a
it.
very rough book. It's not even a book yet. It's basically the rough proofs from the publisher. So it's not even stapled, basically
Oh
it's not
wow.
bound.
So this is your latest project.
Yeah, this will come out in spring, so it's not out yet.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
in there, the publisher has left messages. I said, "Oh, should we do this?" And they've left notes for me. So what we were looking at when the book becomes like this, so they've finished with the illustrations. We've done all the copy editing. They've made a pretend book, I would call it, right?
Yeah. So it's like a
They're called
mock-up. Yeah.
it's a mock-up.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a mock-up, and then they'll be looking at, like, the color differences. Maybe certain pages need to be lightened and stuff like that. So not all the authors will get this, but we've been working on this book quite a while. The Walker Books team and the illustrator Holly Sterling. She is based outside of London. And she has done a great job on the illustrations. This is the main character, and it's a treasure to me because this this story was inspired by my own family circumstances. We are a blended family. Maybe I can talk about it later. And so
Sure.
I've been inspired by this to write this story. So it's about this little girl and her mom and her grandparents. Her grandparents are she has a grandma who is Asian. Her granddad is English, and she has a
So real
mom.
mixed
Yeah, a
family,
real
yeah, the real
yeah,
mixed family, yeah.
absolutely like a reflection of what a lot of families in London are, a lot of families in
Yep, yep,
Singapore are.
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
so so this is my third treasure, and I really treasure it a lot.
Fantastic.
I
I
can't
love
wait
that.
to show this to the world.
I love that title. So Wednesdays are for, is for wiggling. And no,
Yeah.
we'll definitely get into in terms of family and what is a blended family to you, and also in terms of your childhood and your current family, in terms of your dynamics and about your daughters as well. But for now, because it's
Hmm.
part of Dear Future Grandkids, we know we like to pry into our guests' lives, and that's why we do it in Zoom as well. That's why we have guests from all around the world. Hence, I'm in Singapore. You're in the UK, but we're well connected with technology. We can see each other, we can listen to each other, but we also like to pry and have a glimpse into your home, which you can see your beautiful shelves and your treasures and everything you've collected. We want to know, do you have a corner of shame? Like a
Oh no.
corner of room where you've just got mess and junk and you just chuck it all there before guests come to the house. You just shove everything there. Um, do you have one? You're a writer. You must have one.
Yes, I do. Actually, it's quite embarrassing. It's quite tidy, and I kind of push everything to that corner there. It is a corner of shame. Do you want to see it?
Absolutely, 100%, a hundred
Okay,
percent.
so I'm gonna have to
Yeah, just lift. Yes, bring
lift
out your phone or your laptop. All right.
my
So Eva's
laptop. Oh my
giving us a
goodness.
tour of a house, and
Oh, I don't know how to say. Oh, let's do
no, no,
this
it's good. It's good.
angle.
It's good. It's good.
It's
It's good.
good.
It's
It's good.
not far away. I can see you, and then
Okay,
okay, there's
okay,
bookshelves,
okay.
and
So
okay,
this is my corner of shame. Let me. Oh, okay, maybe
it's
like that.
pretty neat. All I see is like
Ah,
boxes, pair of
yeah.
scissors, cardboard boxes, plastic
Oh,
boxes, a
it's
suitcase.
yeah.
Are
It is.
you about to flee the country, Eva?
Well, no, not really. It's all this it's all my junk in the suitcase that have no space on the wall on the shelves, and all those boxes are unopened books. I mean, those shoe boxes are empty shoe boxes for me to put extra things in. But you see some
Okay.
boxes on the floor. Those are
Yes.
really unopened books. Books I from publishers and all I haven't even opened yet. So that's my corner of shame. That's so
Actually,
embarrassing.
no, it's not really a corner of shame. It's pretty neat and organized. So you're saying
Oh, thank you.
these books are given to you by publishers, they're unopened. Are they your books or just books from the publishing house that they wanted you to have vet
Great
through or
question.
read through?
Some of them are proofs from publishers when they are looking for authors to read other authors' books.
Ah,
Um,
okay.
so that pile there are my books from my own publisher. So when an author gets published, they will have copies. I mean, the publisher will send them copies of their books. It could be 6 to 10 copies that are your own. So if you see at the back there,
Yeah.
those are my copies. They are called author copies. So
Okay.
yeah.
Fantastic. Good. Thanks for sharing. I tell you what, don't worry about it. That's not really a corner of shame. It's really it's an organized corner, if I might say so myself. After having like 59 guests on the show, it's pretty neat. It's pretty
Oh,
neat.
thank you.
You don't have to worry. I can show you Chinese New Year mess, but I will spare everyone now. So next part of the show is I just want to check. Have you got your mobile phone with you nearby?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's here.
perfect. So what we
Yeah.
want to do is now for you to leave a meaningful voice message for someone important in your life or someone that has been really significant or helped you through a tough time. Maybe this person is someone that maybe you don't speak to often enough, or someone you speak to all the time, but you just don't ever leave that special message or ever really tell this person how you really feel about them. So if you could bring out your phone,
Okay.
maybe go on WhatsApp and then decide who do you want to send it to, and then record the voice message and then send it. And then it's great if you can tell us who this person is and why did you want to leave a meaningful voice message.
Okay, so I tell you the person who the person is first, or do I leave the message first?
You can leave a message first, then you can tell us who that person is after the message. We try to
Okay.
decipher and try to guess.
Okay, so I will leave the message for this
Yeah,
person
yeah.
first. Okay,
And
so
you gotta
I'm
send it. You gotta send it. And if that
yeah,
person replies before the end of the show, please let us know what the
I'll
reply was.
send
That'd
it.
be fantastic. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go now.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, Hey, hey, I don't say this very often, but I want you to believe in yourself because I know you've got it, my friend. Okay, bye. Sent.
Sense. Short and sweet, definitely meaningful.
Yes.
Who was it for?
It's for a friend that I met a long time ago. She's a lot younger than I am. She's almost a little, she's just slightly older than my oldest daughter, actually.
Okay.
But she's a very, very good friend, and she's helped me with a lot of things, like translating some Chinese phrases that, I can't read, and I'll always go to her. Um, she is she is my younger self at heart. If
Oh,
I could be her age again, I would learn the things she's learned, and she's very capable, and she is actually a paper conservator.
oh
She
wow,
Oh yeah,
really?
very rare,
What?
right?
Yes.
Yeah, she specializes in this, and she's so passionate about it. So if you ask her anything about paper, she's able to tell you. She's able to tell you how to conserve it. She has taken the time to learn this skill. Yeah.
Does
And
she
she's only
work?
and she's only young, so she has
Yeah.
and so she has so much ahead of for her, going
So
for
this is
her.
her passion, but is it an actual job? Does she work for a
Yeah, yeah,
museum or a library, or
she's
she work? Yeah.
yes, she works in for an agency. So she's hoping to go further, to and do really like proper paper conserving.
Wow. And
Yeah.
you you okay to share her name or?
Yes, I'm okay to share her name, if I'm okay to share her name. Her name is Tam Kawai.
Kawai, Tam Kawai.
Yeah.
Okay, Kawai. So this is
Yes.
for Kawai, and you were obviously sending a message of confidence and telling her that she can do it. Is she in the crossroads on something, or is
Yes,
she? Yeah,
crossroads.
yeah.
Yeah, deciding on where to go for the future. She knows what she wants. It's just working. I guess when you're having to work for agencies that probably don't see eye to eye, different values to yours. But
Yeah,
it's a job, it's a job. We've all been there,
yeah,
and
yeah.
so I just wanted to encourage her. But she
That was
doesn't know I'm
lovely.
doing this.
No, that's lovely. No, but I think that's lovely, and I would really love to know, what was her reaction when she got the message. But if she replies before the end of the show, fantastic. But if not as well, just let us know. It'll be really interesting to see, what she thought about it. But and it's really kind of you to encourage her as well and to give her the confidence, especially when we've all been there at a certain age, right? It's just like just the fear of the unknown is really scary, and whether you're making the
Mhm.
right decision. But I guess in hindsight, it's just leap, right? Just do it. Just do
Yeah,
it when especially when you're
you got to
younger.
follow your heart. You got to follow your heart. Yeah, easier said than done, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm at,
Okay.
I'm at a ripe old age that I can say that. But when you're in your, yeah. So
Yeah.
yes, you got to follow your
No,
heart.
fantastic, Eva. Thank you so much for that.
Oh, pleasure.
For
Yeah.
sharing with us your wonderful, meaningful message. And now, um, this is the fun part for me, and I think for everyone as well. Eva, we know that you're a published writer. You've brought up two bright girls, but the main thing is, do you have a pointless skill? Because here in Dear Future Grandkids, we value pointless skills because that's amazing. Something that not many other people can do. And it doesn't really matter because it's completely pointless. So
Oh,
do
I
you
love
have a
that.
point do you have a pointless skill?
I think I have a lot of pointless skills, but I
Wow, a
think
lot.
what I have a lot. I have a lot. It's really pointless. But
Okay.
I think for this. Uh, I tend to lip read. So, I'm looking intently at the camera, at you, although
Yeah.
I can hear you, but I'm so
Yeah.
used to looking at people. But, to have eye contact with people is quite weird, right? I mean, otherwise, I mean, if you keep looking into their eyes, it's very intense, right?
Yeah.
So
True.
sometimes I just look at their mouths. And so as I'm listening to them, I'm trying to see like their mouths forming those words. It's a
Okay.
pointless skill because if they were silent, I probably wouldn't know what they're talking about.
So can you actually lip read? You can sort of
I
decipher
well,
what's
I think I can. I try at least. Yeah, but
okay.
like now they
Well,
have all
no,
these AI to
yeah,
do it, all the lip
but
syncing and stuff.
it's not really a pointless skill because you know that there's all this footage on the internet when there's some celebrity or some royalty or whatsoever, and they're having like an intimate conversation. It's not meant for the camera, and everyone's like, "Ooh, what did she say? What did he say? Oh, his lips kind of was mouthing
Yeah.
his words." So it could be you could be very useful with that. But I'm going to test you now.
Okay.
Um, I'm going to say a few things, but obviously going to say it out loud, and let's see
Yeah.
if you can lip read. Whether it's actually a pointless skill. Okay, you ready for this?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I am. Oh my goodness. Happy New Year of the Snake? I don't know.
I said, how are you? And welcome to Dear Future Grandkids.
Okay.
But you know what?
Totally off.
I just
Yeah.
realized it was so hard to mouth the words when you're not saying it. It's like it doesn't really come out. I don't even know if
Yeah.
I was actually saying it.
Yeah. That was funny.
Oh,
See,
good. What
totally pointless. I got that all wrong.
you know what?
If I had
I could have botched it. So you probably have a proper skill. I botched it. So
Oh
don't worry
no,
about
God, no, you're too kind.
it.
Totally pointless. Yeah.
But thank you for sharing, and we'll keep
You
it between
know.
us and all our listeners and watchers that that's your point of skill with lip reading. Now, Eva, now we're going to talk about your
Mm,
family, and you talked about your blended family as well, and we'll get to that. But now it's just that we want to hear more about your childhood. Like, where did you grow up? You said you grew up in Singapore, but like where exactly? Paint the picture for us. Was it just a block of flats? Was it a house? Was it a lot of space? Was it intergenerational family? What was it like in your childhood in Singapore?
sure. My I had a quite cloistered childhood, I would say. I was born in 1969, so Singapore was only 4 years old at that time. Having had independence in 1965, right? So my childhood, as you can see, that's me, little Eva, so cute.
Yeah.
Someone had put, yeah, so that's me. I'm about maybe 4 or maybe 5 years old there. Um, that's my mom at the back and my sister Emily, and behind where you can see a group of three men,
Yeah.
the one facing us is my dad. So this was taken during a time when my father was a businessman, and there were a lot. He had a lot of these what in Singapore we call functions, just basically just means meetings and stuff. And there's
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
dinner, and
Yeah.
my dad would always take us. Right.
Yeah.
I moved around a lot in Singapore. But we've always lived in the north of Singapore. So I lived in I a lot of my childhood was spent in Serangoon Gardens. I don't know if you know that
Yes. Yes, I
area.
know that. I've actually lived
Yeah.
there before.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you have? Oh, there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a very old residential
Yeah,
area,
estates.
north
There's a lot
in
of
a state.
land. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
so when I was living there, we lived in a house, a kind of what do you call those terrace houses? We call them in
yes,
England.
yeah,
I don't know what they're
yeah.
called there in Singapore. I
Which is
forget the
why
word.
link houses, so land
Yeah,
at the front.
linked.
Yeah,
They're all
yeah,
linked.
links. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Little porch in front, a little
yeah.
garden at the back.
Back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we lived in that kind of house, and so it was very middle class. I'd have very middle class upbringing. We were not rich, but we were not poor either, But then my father lost a lot of money, and through his business deals, and then forced us out. And we kept moving north. So this time we moved more north of Singapore, and we ended up in an area called Yishun. And they were building these new HDB flats then.
which is like council flats. Well,
Yes,
yeah,
they're like
well,
council
yeah,
flats.
council flats. So
Correct.
like government
Yeah,
flats. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, government
yeah.
subsidized flats. So
Flats. Yeah,
every country, I suppose every country has a scheme like that, right? So we moved then, and I remember feeling really quite isolated. I was very far away from my friends, who were still living in Serangoon Gardens, and it took us an hour to go to school. I went to school
Mm,
in town. So today that school is Chimes, or the whatever business district called Chimes.
yeah.
In the old days, it was the Convent of the Holy Infant Jesus. That's where I went to school. And I would take the bus, and it would take me more than an hour to get to from North Singapore,
To Central,
from where
yeah.
to Central.
Yeah.
And yeah, but by the time we moved to Yishun, I was 16. So, I was older, so it was fine, but still that feeling of isolation and moving to quite far-flung areas, that never left me, right?
Yeah. I know
So,
what you
and
mean.
today I
Yeah.
still choose to live centrally, but it's
Yeah.
always expensive to live centrally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I moved around a lot actually in Singapore.
No, I know what you mean. It's just that your childhood home means a lot, and then you felt like kind of displaced, right? Because that's like home, and that's where you were used to the area, and then that was just a center of
Yes.
it. And then when you move, it's just you
Yes.
feel a little bit displaced. I totally get that. And also, then you were talking about your parents, your great grandparents, your grandparents as well, and you call them your storytelling family.
Oh yeah.
Why is that? Is it because they pass on generational
Yes.
stories? They give you life lessons?
Yeah. I mean, my 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 grandmother my grandmother was Hakka, so that's my dad's side. They are the
Mm.
Peranakans in my family. And they would converse a lot in Hakka, even though I couldn't really speak properly in Hakka, but I could understand everything. There were always stories, like I mean stories as in like everyday stories. They'll say, oh, today uncle went to the shop and this is what happened, and then
Mm.
it becomes there's always drama, and there are always I guess when we talk, we don't really use sounds, right? We don't go, oh, pow, or whack, or but they are in these words, So sometimes I would hear my grandmother say, oh, whack, then fall down, you know, and they're very animated storytellers actually. So and my father is still like that today. My dad is 94 this year.
Wow,
And
amazing.
whenever I call him, there's always a story. Like he's always telling me something. He's always telling me a story. Oh, like Auntie Belinda, she came today, and this is what she did. We ate this, and she brought us this. So these are just these are everyday stories. So
Important
that's why
stories.
I call them.
Lovely.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why I call them my big Chinese storytelling family.
I love it. I love it. I mean, it's just the stories that from your grandparents, or for me, like my mom and dad and uncles and aunties as well. They all have stories, and then sometimes you feel that when you were little, it's like a fly on the wall. You're not meant to listen to these stories, but you hear them, and
Yes,
and
exactly.
it's just it's a massive storytelling, it's a massive drama, and you're like, oh, am I
Yeah.
supposed to even hear this? And it's almost like watching like a Korean drama series
Oh,
or something
totally,
like that
totally. Yeah.
taking
It's
place
like you're
with your family.
absolutely. It's like you're eavesdropping, right? And then when they don't want
Yes.
you to hear something, they'll like lower their voices, then they'll like whisper. Then all the more you want to hear because you're like, oh, like you're more intrigued. Yeah.
And
That's
then
so funny.
so storytelling from your parents, grandparents, and your dad till today as well. It's really lovely to hear that when you speak to him, he tells you like full stories of what's happening is going on in
Yes.
his life. That's really nice. Your direct family, you always call it like a blended family. Can you share a bit more? And also, you did mention that you're based in the UK now, but obviously you're from Singapore, and then you were away for a long time, but you also made a conscious decision to move back to Asia or to Singapore for a bit.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
can you
Yeah.
share with that?
Sure, sure. So I came to England when in 1992. I was around 22 years old. Uh, so that's quite a long, long time ago. I studied here. I came to finish my schooling, I guess. I did my university here, and then was supposed to go back, but then I didn't. I fell in love and married this man that I fell in love with, and then we had a child together, and then things just kind of didn't work out, and we went our separate ways. But through it all, because we have a child together, we have a daughter together. We've kept in touch, right? Always, because for the sake of the child.
Sure. Yeah.
And he's a very good friend. There's no animosity between us. He joins us for Christmas every year. I will have a Christmas in England with my ex-husband, my husband, and our two children. So one of my daughters is from the first husband, and the other one is from my present husband. But we are a family. We get along, we get together, and my ex-husband comes over all the time. He sees the children, and at one point, his name is Dave, and at one point, the younger one, my younger daughter Rafaela, would call him Daddy Dave. So my children have my
Oh,
yeah my children have
oh,
a daddy and a papa,
yeah,
right? So my
yeah,
husband Armando, he is papa, and Dave is daddy, and or Daddy Dave. So we've been very lucky that we've made it work, and we've made it
yeah,
work for us as a
yeah,
as a nuclear family, because we wanted our children to have hope, right? That
yeah,
to see that adults sometimes don't get along.
yeah,
Sometimes they get married and then things happen.
yeah.
But we shouldn't be enemies, because there's life's just too short, right?
I
So
mean,
yeah.
that's amazing. And you not using the word amazing lightly at all, because it just shows such love and maturity for you, your husband, your ex-husband as well, to put the importance of family, right? I mean, everyone
Yeah.
is family, and what an amazing example to show that we all can get along, we all can be matured, and we all love each other.
Yeah, I think the credit really is to both my ex and my husband, because it's not easy. I mean, it's quite hard for men. I think there's always that ego, right? I mean, in circumstance in my own family, um, my mom is my dad's second wife, right? So I can see how it is on the woman's side, from there. I also come from a very extended big Chinese family. My grandfather had three wives, and
Mm,
my
yeah,
it's quite common in that part of the
yeah,
world,
correct. Yeah,
when I was young.
yeah.
And and I've seen how the squabbling and the, all that kind of just, it's just stressful. And yeah. So yeah, I guess, yeah. So I'm very grateful to my husband, Armando, and to my ex-husband Dave, actually, for seeing beyond all this and trying to make it all work, and for two young people.
It's amazing. All of you deserve so much credit for that, and both your daughters are so lucky to have all three of you for making it work, being adults, matured, and an amazing example to see that life can be good. Life can be how you all make of it, and to have a great relationship. I think that's fantastic. And I know your family is really important to you, but obviously books are as well. And I know books mean so much to you, and I don't want to give it away. I'll just set you up. You describe books as.
They're my lifeline. I don't know. Did I say that
Yeah,
to you before?
you
They're
said you
they're
said you said they're like your documents of time.
Oh, yes, also that. Okay, yeah, maybe I should explain Lifeline, and then but I'll talk about the documents. Yes, books are a document of time, because they are words that have been published, right? And I mean, like, people keep diaries, like, say, for example, Anne Frank's diaries. They were her documents of the time she spent in the dungeon. I mean, in trapped in a
Yeah.
as a prisoner. And then they became published. So they documented a life for her, her life for other people. Yeah. I mean, I have always read. I read as a child, since I was young. So they are, that's why I say they are my lifeline. And I learned about the world, about people, about relationships,
Mm.
about history through books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I really like it. I
Yes.
really like it when you described it, and it just means so much, right? Because they really are documents of time, because it's your thoughts, your feelings, and everything else. It's now in print. You've managed to articulate that and put it down, and it's there. I like to think forever and for
Yeah.
generations to experience that, and then from
Mhm.
there they will take their own from it and build their
Yeah,
story.
absolutely,
I Yeah,
absolutely. They will take their own. I mean, like dancing dumplings, for example.
yeah.
If I may just talk a little bit about that. I mean, it was a title that Rafaela gave to me, right? And I didn't have a story there, you know. But what I had when we were cooking together, and she was telling me, "Oh, dancing dumplings, you got to write a story, mommy." What 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 that what the feeling or the emotion of that day I remember really well. I remember that we were bonding, you know, we were having a good time together, you know, and she was so excited because she wanted to eat the dumplings and um and I suppose the theme of that came out in the book, even though the secondary character is a grandmother, right? Yeah.
And just imagine, in terms of both of your relationship, something she said when she was 6 years old, when you guys were cooking together, and she said you should write a book, and you did, and it's come to life. I mean, I can't imagine for her. It's like this is an idea I spoke to my mom about, that gave her the title, and there you have it. We have this, you
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
It's I think
Actually,
that's, yeah.
my children inspire me. You know, they love reading, they love stories. Yeah. And I try to pass them, I try to pass to them the stories like of my childhood, right? That were passed to me orally. Like for example, the moon goddess Chang'e and Hou Yi, which is a very common not common. It's an ancient or common also story in Southeast Asia. It's the story that we all know and associate with the Mooncake Festival,
Yes, yes,
right?
yeah.
And Mooncake Festival is a huge festival, as we know, in Taiwan, in Hong Kong, Southeast Asia. Um, but you know, I didn't grow up reading stories of the story of Zhang and Hu Yi or retellings. You know, I know the story because it was just passed down. You know,
Yeah.
there's a goddess in the moon, and there's a rabbit. There's you know, she has a rabbit up there, and she's very lonely, and she's trying to get her
Find
husband to come and
someone,
join her.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and it's a love story, right? It's an ancient love story. And I used to tell that story to my older one, to Sophie. Sophie is actually quite romantic. I mean, I would say maybe she'll get upset with me for saying that, but I think she she is a very romantic woman, and you know, I would tell her these stories, and that is the only way I could keep the culture alive for her, or the
Mm,
heritage, because we
yeah.
didn't have these books in English. Yeah.
It's
So
it's amazing. So it's part of your legacy. You are keeping this alive. It's important as well in terms of representation. So yeah, Eva. So what's the and talking about legacy now? What's the most important thing, like I or your future grandkids should know about you?
that I tried my best, always. I tried my best. Yeah. I may not have done everything right, but I tried to do everything to the best, to the utmost best that I could have done.
And you know what? Just based on our conversation today, and you being on the show, and you sharing your stories, you have absolutely done your best. And I know for a fact that your family loves you.
Oh,
And it seems like you have a great family. You're happy. You are passing on stories, legacy as well. And I think that's fantastic. So thank you so much for being on the show. We know your time is really precious, especially with the time difference as well. So thank you so much. Now, before we close this video time capsule that we're building together, and for your future grandkids, you get to leave a message. What do you want to say to your future grandkids?
oh, yeah. So, dear future grandkids, take courage, be yourself, and be proud of who you are.
Fantastic. You've always drummed that from the start of the show. It's about representation. It's about being true to yourself. Even you come from a blended family, no matter where you are, where you're from, or where you are now. And I love that. I love that message. I
Thank you
love
so
that.
much.
Eva,
Thank
thank
you
you
for
so
having
much.
me.
No, thank you so much. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much. It's been great. Before we say goodbye, anywhere that we should look out for in terms of where can we find your latest book? I know it's all in work in progress at the moment. So you say we're going to look out for it in spring. That's your latest book that's coming out.
Yes. Wednesday is for Wiggling. It's coming out in spring.
Yep.
There's another one that's coming out in September. There's a poster for it. I just don't have the book yet. It's called The Moon God, the Moon Rabbit. It's called. Is that Zhang Le and Hou Yi story that I was telling you about? Yeah, and now it's on. It is going to be published, and that's really special. Yeah.
Perfect. I tell you what, we'll here in Dear Future Grandkids, of course, once we know when it's coming out, we'll definitely put it on our socials as well. And Eva, once again, thank you so much. This has been fantastic. And thank you all for watching Dear Future Grandkids. This is the show where we look to the past to give us lessons for the future. So thank you so much for watching. Eva, Kung Si Fa Chai, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Thank you all for watching and listening. See you. Bye-bye.